Good morning. This is the Eager Beaver Show.
You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Misfit Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters, CanadianTarot.com, your uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community, and the Peppermaster, hot pepper sauces made from farm-fresh ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind. Well, good morning, and hello, kids, and good morning, sports fans, and welcome to the Daily Beaver Morning Sports Show. Canada, 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 Canada. Boo, 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 boo. Yes, we are celebrating because today we are having a little bit of a party. Hey?
Well, I think we should celebrate this like our prime minister does. So that's a little
Canada.
a little FU to Trump. 51st state, never gonna happen.
Hey, you know what? It actually has the same three syllables too.
Mm-hmm.
F-U Trump, Canada. F-U Trump, Canada. Yeah. By the way, for those who are wondering, Mr. Trump decided not to show up at the match. He decided not to accept the invitation, and might have been the first smart decision he's made in his entire political career.
Well,
He knew.
I don't know if you've seen this. Michael D'Adder, who is a genius, probably
Yes.
one of the greatest political cartoonists
Love
alive,
this one.
did this.
Yep. Yep. For those watching at home, Mr. Grizzly.
Well, if you're listening, it shows a newspaper box that says "Final Canada 3, USA 2, Four Nations Face-Off." Trump, with an exceedingly long tie, staring at the newspaper box, saying it was rigged.
Yep. And listening to the post-matches interviews, it seems that a certain Mr. Brady Tkachuk might have had the same impression.
What? Really?
Well, he didn't go out so much as saying it was rigged, but throughout his entire post-match interview, it was like, we deserved a better result. If you deserved a better result, you would have won.
Bro, your mom is from Winnipeg. Your mom is Canadian.
I don't know if hockey...
Scoreboard.
Scoreboard. Clearly, you underestimated what you needed to do to win.
Yeah.
Because you didn't.
And I'm not taking away from Team USA.
No, it was a great match.
It was a hell of a game.
It was a worthy contest.
It was. But the better team won.
Just saying. And okay, Jordan Binnington.
Yeah.
That guy stood on his head
Oh,
and
yeah.
did cartwheels and backflips and dives and splays and in that overtime period.
He, yeah.
I mean, I could
Also,
understand why Brady Tkachuk would be a little bitter. I mean, they did have plenty of opportunities.
well, this comment from Linda, can't even blame the refs. There was only one penalty.
Mhm,
It was, I'd say, for the most part, other than a few questionable hits, it was a pretty clean game.
mhm. Yep, it was. Now, I do not know with regard to Mr. Tkachuk whether or not, because he happens to play for the Ottawa Senator,
Yes, yeah.
and he was the one in the last 2 matches against Canada who seemed to be taking it rather personally and
Yeah.
taking it upon himself to be physical.
I
Even
wonder
in
what,
yesterday's match, he was the first one to try to get physical right in front of our goal, and he was like cross sticking someone. Like, he was trying to prove. You see the Canadian going, "Go ahead, get yourself a penalty."
I
So
gotta wonder what his mom's gonna say to him this morning.
I'm gonna wonder if he's gonna get booed when he plays in Ottawa the first time, because he seemed to want to think that the solution was to get violent with Canadians,
Yeah. Look, I
physically
like
violent.
him as a hockey player. I do. I think he's a great captain, and the Ottawa Senator fans love him.
Maybe a maturity issue.
Well, well, possibly because he's quite young, but
Mhm.
it's like everything has shifted in the last few weeks.
Right.
Everything has shifted. We're not living in normal times.
No, we're not.
We're in a very different state of the world right now, and I think sports fans are suddenly going, what do I think about this guy anymore? I don't know what to think about him anymore. You know, I love him as a captain, the Ottawa Senators. I'm a Senators fan, but it's like,
He seems to not like Canadians,
well, and
and that's kind of hard when you're playing in Ottawa.
yeah, yeah.
He maybe let a few things slip that are probably not good for the future of his career in Canada.
Well, and the thing is, they've asked him if he'd be like they renewed his contract, and he says, I don't want to move. I want to parade a Stanley Cup down Bank Street. Like he literally says he wants to stay in Ottawa and win a Stanley Cup. So okay, cool. It might be some uneasy days when you get back, is all I'm saying, brother.
There might be a few conversations. There might be.
Well, from
I
Tim,
don't
he
think his
can love
heart's in
his
the wrong
country and
place.
not be a MAGA. You know, and the thing is, it's like his father's American, his mom is from the Peg, which is, don't forget, the geographic center of North America.
Mm-hmm.
Winnipeg, the center of Canada, the center of North America. His mom is from his mom's a Pegger.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Was that Miss? What did the fox say?
Heard that and chuckling.
Heard
So,
that.
you know, and she's actually made TV commercials for car commercials, a minivan commercial where both the Kachuk boys are in the back seat, and she's
Right.
like, "Stops! Don't make me pull this over." I'm like, so she's a staunchly Canadian gal. So I wonder if she got a phone call. I wonder if he got a phone call. And maybe in the end it was just heated emotions because it's a game.
Yes.
And he's a serious competitor.
Yes.
And
Very competitor. No doubt
take the
about it.
MAGA shit out of it. I don't think that really. I think it's less to do with anything Trumpian and more to do with I was playing for my country and I wanted to win. And I think that's what it was. And I think
I hope so.
mature people can see it that way.
Yeah.
I hope that's what it is. I hope it's not something else because.
But
it's
I
gonna be
have
rough
to
play here.
say that over the course of the 2 matches that I watched him play, my affection for him dipped.
I know. I understand.
Dipped a wee bit.
My appreciation for him as a competitor didn't change.
Yes.
You know, the he's out there. He wants to win. So I respect the hell out of that. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I do.
Well, just a slight little adjustment might
Yeah.
be needed. It seemed like he was taking it a little too personally.
Yeah, it seemed like that.
Again, remind everyone, particularly for our American friends who watch the show, right? So we are booing the administration
Correct. Not
the
your
anthem
country.
because we know one guy in the administration is particularly addicted to television.
Yes.
And that's the only way we can talk to him. So it's like the American people in general are still our friends.
Oh, yes. Yes.
The
Absolutely.
Prime Minister Trudeau also. I talked about David Eby at the end of the Invictus Games, at the beginning of the Invictus Games, but the Prime Minister showed up at the end of the Invictus Games and also knocked it out of the park when he was talking about our relationship.
You're still our friends. We just don't care for your administration.
Yeah. And let's be honest, to our American friends, that's pretty much always been the case my entire life here in Canada.
Yes.
It's just never been that much. It's like we pretty much always have a problem with your administration of some kind. It's never been anything like this.
This is a new territory. This is new territory for everybody on Earth.
Yeah. But for all the other stuff, we have family, we have friends, we have work colleagues, we have whatever like this. That stuff doesn't go away.
No, it does not.
Right. So it's like we're still good.
We're still
the guy running the shop and us, we ain't good. We ain't good right now. No, we ain't loving him right now.
I got to share this photo with you. I know you'll love this. Let's just. I'll blow it up. I'll make it full screen there. Sid the kid. Sid no longer the kid.
Right.
Sidney Crosby.
It's weird to see him at this age, right? Because when he breaks out in that big smile, he's still got that boyish smile, but you can still say like he's a man now.
Yeah,
he's got the features on his face, right? Like this, but you still see like when he smiles, like the really young guy in there.
Oh yeah. The guy who still loves the game more than anything in this world.
Right. It's really cool to watch that. I like that. Yeah. So Team Canada, of course, great match for both teams. We said that before, but we have to stress it. It was a very, very worthwhile contest. And also, by the way, they mentioned it a couple of times in the show, a big shout out to Team Finland as well. Because when they were down 4-0, they could have just said, you know what, let's go golfing. Right. And they made it a contest. It was like 4-3 before we scored an extra empty netter. Crosby. So, they put up a fight. So, you could tell that there was like national pride going on, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was the biggest, this type of tournament outside the Olympics in a long time. Also, little footnote, but according to Sportsnet, the United States has not won a best on best nation hockey competition since the 1996 World Cup.
Correct.
Just saying.
Look, since I don't know if you're familiar with
gentle ribbing.
I don't know if you're familiar with what MapQuest has been doing as of lately.
No, what?
And they're taking suggestions on what should we call the Gulf of Mexico. So people are suggesting stuff, and they're playing right along online. And they did this one I thought was pretty good. Gulf of McDavid.
The Gulf of McDavid. I love it. Of course, Kits and Cubs. If you did not yet know, the goal heard round the world that followed the boo heard round the world a couple of days ago came from none other than Connor McDavid.
One of the greatest hockey players on earth.
Right. Now, there was a lot of wondering yesterday whether or not that would come from Sidney Crosby again, because he tends to have a habit of scoring that goal.
Yes, yeah.
So it's a little bit of a handing over of the torch in a way.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Oh yes.
But it's nice to see there's all these beautiful narratives within this context that have popped up. But kudos to Nathan McKinnon, who was the person who opened the scoring for Team Canada during this one in the first
Canadian kid from Nova Scotia.
Yeah, and I think he was like one of the two top scorers of the event, right? I mean, he was having a good event. And then Brady Tkachuk, of course, scored the first goal for the United States. So, I mean, like I said, fierce competitor, right? He's on the scoreboard, and I think he probably did really well too throughout the entire tournament, I think, if I'm not mistaken, for the United States. Then Sanderson came in for the U.S. Trocheck got a penalty, but it did not lead to a power play goal. And then Bennett. Yes, baby. Okay. And he made my heart go pitter-patter a little bit. That is a good-looking man.
Bennington or Bennett?
Bennett.
Oh, Bennett. Who's?
Oh, that is a very, very, very
I'm not sure
handsome
who
man.
that is.
Number
Sorry,
6.
I'm not even sure who he is.
Oh, yeah. Sam Bennett, his first name is. The camera loves him.
Sam
I
Bennett.
will just say. Wow. He's got the sort of like golden beard and really, really blue eyes. And just he's a looker. He
Oh,
won
yeah,
the
he plays
genetic
for the
lottery.
Panthers. Yeah, he plays for the
Yeah.
Florida Panthers.
Like,
Oh, and look at that. What a good-looking kid right there. I'll tell you what. We
yeah.
share a
And he's got
similar
yes,
hairstyle.
yes, and he's got that. He's able to do that death stare, that sports death stare. I'm gonna get you type thing.
Yeah, to say the least.
But yes, throwing in some personal commentary. Very easy on the eyes. So thank you for scoring so that you could get a couple of close-ups. That made my night. I watch sports for the important stuff too,
Yeah.
and and then of course Connor McDavid, 8 minutes into overtime, after, as we said, Binnington standing on his head several times, making some absolutely spectacular saves. Listen, if you were a sports fan in Canada, you were spoiled rotten because not only did you have that going on, but if you're a curler like me, you had the last pool play match at the Scotties, and in Pool B last night when this started, we could have ended up with a 6-way tie for first.
Oh, wow.
6 teams with a 5-3 record could have been out of the pool play. Now it ends up that the three top teams did win, and no tie breaks are needed and anything. But there was a possibility last night, so everybody is like, if you were not watching hockey, you were watching curling. And if you're like me, I had an old cell phone that no longer is a cell phone. I can't make calls from, but if I'm at home, I can put it on, connect it to the internet, and at least watch some stuff and work on it. So I had one phone set with the hockey match, and I had one phone with with the curling match side by side, just watching them and taking notes for the show. I was set up like a pro. I'll tell you that.
I'm trying to get a big picture of Sam Bennett, but I'm having trouble. There's pictures of Sam Bennett here throughout his life, and as you can see, so this is who he is right here. Nice haircut. I like his haircut. This
Lovely
is him a little bit younger. He's been in the NHL since 2014, so he's been there. As you can see here, very young right there.
Right.
Very young.
And it was, yeah. And for him, it was his first goal.
Oh, wow.
Of the entire tournament. Came at a really good time. Yeah, Thank you for showing up to equalize the thing. Yeah. Yeah. So, great tournament overall. It seems that the players had been asking for a concept like this forever, and they finally got it. And listen, they got a lot of people watching. The political subtext or context in which it was all swimming in definitely added to the enjoyment / tension / interest / coverage. There's probably a lot of people that don't normally watch hockey who did tune in last night. They got treated to a really great match.
Oh, yeah.
Hopefully they'll tune in again.
Well, this
right?
is
So it was good for the sport.
Headline from the Star. I'm going to put this on the screen. Canada versus U.S. in Four Nations final. Canada wins 3-2 in overtime with a beauty from McDavid. Big nights for Marner and Matthews. And of course, they mentioned Marner and Matthews because they're Toronto Leaf players. So,
Right. Oh, it was a beauty. Oh, what a great match. The petty in me is now saying, how long until Donald Trump cancels funding to the U.S. men's hockey program?
Oh, yeah. Here's the thing. That's not even outrageous. He'll be like, has he said anything yet? Does anybody? I'm trying to find word from him online to say that he went ballistic about something. Or
I mean, I'm guessing he'd have to Congratulations to losers, Canada. You may have won this time, but we will still get you on the tier. Because I mean, yesterday before the match, he did announce a possible 25% tariffs on lumber now
Yeah.
coming time in April, March, whatever.
Well,
So basically, it's 25% tariffs on everything like this, and every couple of days where something goes wrong for him like this, it's a 25% potential tariff on another sector. So it's like, yeah. If we beat him, if we beat the United States at curling at the World Championships coming up, there's going to be like a 25% tariffs on electronic equipment or something.
Yeah.
Or on
Well, breaking news. Trump says Canadians cheated. A quote from Donald J. Trump, the president of the United States. I know hockey, and that third touchdown shouldn't have counted.
Nobody knows more about hockey than me. That third touchdown, can't believe it. Flag on the play.
Yeah, exactly.
Can't believe he bounced off the ropes like that. Somebody should have brought him a folding chair. Why didn't he smack him across the head with a folding chair? That's hockey, right?
I mean, you can't.
The WWEHL?
You make it up. And the problem is, this is how much of a weird time we're in. We can make up foolish stuff like that and make it look official, and people go, I don't know if this is real, but I can believe it.
I believe that. There's some interesting things that came out, Mr. Grizzly. If you there's a rather interesting visual that somebody did by AI. I'm sending you 3 links. The first one will be the visual. I saw it at first. I thought, ooh, that's a little intense. The first one as a visual. I can't say I necessarily object, but wow, whoever ordered AI to do this was really feeling it.
This is an intense.
I don't know how he exactly described this.
So it's a Canadian hockey player dressed in a Team Canada sweater, wearing the captain's C. Behind what looks like it, World War I trench warfare, Canadian flag flying in the background. Over his left shoulder, over his right shoulder is an eagle. And on the plate in front of him is an eagle that has been roasted like a turkey, and he's eating it.
And the look on his face as he's eating it.
Yeah, he's pissed.
You're going down into my belly.
Here's another good one. I like this one. You'll love this one. It's although it's a strange AI because they got the beak wrong, but I'll take it. It's the glorious Canadian cobra chicken with a Canadian flag on its back, standing atop an American eagle who is lying up on the American flag. The problem is, if you look at the beak on the Canadian cobra chicken, it's a hooked beak, and Canada geese don't have hooked beaks. The AI we got to teach the AI about the cobra chicken because they don't have beaks like that. But it's still good. I appreciate it.
Oh God. Cobra chicken, eagle, rat.
Yeah.
Cobra chicken covers rat.
Cobra chicken
covers eagle. Cobra chicken means business, man. I'll tell you. I'm gonna send you another one here, and these are some of the most sort of fun post reactions that I saw from Canadians. There's a couple in there. One of them inspired the title of the show today, as you will see. But there's lots of fun clips. So I got a couple of giggles from these last night. Mr. Grizzly, if you will happen to.
Just give me a second here. I'm just queuing up a few things in the background at the same time. Let's see. Here we go. All right. I'm just loading that asset up that you just sent me. Okay, here we go.
The first one is from Thomas Junot, who you will often recognize because he often talks about national security matters.
My condolences to Premier Trump of the losing province of the USA. This one I saw yesterday, and I couldn't stop quoting it. This might be the biggest Canada-Russia game since 1972. That one, I laughed so hard. And everybody I was saying, this is what I read. I couldn't remember who wrote it, right? And they're like, oh my God, there's so many levels to that one. I'm like, yeah, there really is. There really is so many levels to that one. Dwayne Brett, did the U.S. just become the 11th province of Canada? Someone should ask Premier Trump. George
That was part of the deal, right?
Yeah.
We won, they became the 11th province. That was the deal, right? I mean, let's pull a Trump. I would love to see Justin Trudeau go, so when are you coming over? So that was the deal. When we had that meeting with Trump, Trump told me that if we won, we would, like this. Trump, I never said that. Oh, no, we will just say, we just say you did and let us take care of the rest. Right, Donald?
You keep calling me the governor of the 51st state, so you're now the premier of the 11th province.
There's a reason why geographically we're on top.
Canada is always America's top. Now you need to understand what that means. I'm not gonna get into it.
Those of you who are fabulous know what it means.
You know exactly what it means. from George Strombolopoulos, the Strombo, yes. Never has a win felt this good. And from Gator Gum, someone I follow on the Twitter, we've had a lot of interaction over the last few years. Breaking, McDavid scores in overtime. Like the 72 Summit Series, Canada has defeated the Russians on their own soil. Always the Tariq Haddad. Piece by chocolate. Always the first, never the 51st. Congratulations to the greatest country on earth.
Classy.
I mean,
classy, and yet, congratulations, Tarek. Because if you ever wondered if you were indeed a Canadian, you just removed over doubt because you did smug just like a Canadian and passive aggressive. Way to go, buddy.
Passive aggressive smugness.
Sir, if we hadn't said welcome to the country before, welcome to the country.
Well, and here's this. I got to show you this.
There should be levels of citizenship, right? It's like once you reach the smug passive aggressive thing, it's like
you're so Canadian, it's crazy. This is a good one, okay? This is a really good one. I'm gonna pull this one up, and hang on till I cue it. Let me just show you this tweet because this one is so good. From the Prime Minister, what she said. And then we'll play what she said.
In my life, I've never seen anything like it.
It was absolutely atrocious. But you know what? The Americans had our flag on their floor in the dressing room.
Whoa! God, I
check that moment. Dr. Hayley Wickenheiser.
Yes. Yeah. Because he wasn't enough of an overachiever. Right? That's like Andre Tardif. Duvernay Tardif. Yeah. It's like get a medical degree and win a Super Bowl somewhere along the way. Sure. Yeah. Oh, God. Listen. I know it's just a game. And had we lost, I'd probably be here saying, okay, it's just a game. And I tried to go in it with a very healthy attitude. I was just kind of, Americans, we're gonna get you, suckers. It's like, okay, it's gonna be a good match. Let's have some fun. Are we having fun yet? So, because I didn't want all the animus, but as you know, Patty's my favorite color, and we won.
So, I'm not going to show you there's one response to the PM. What she said. With Hayley Wickenheiser, Hick Chick Wick, Dr. Hayley Wickenheiser. The first response, I'll show you the response. I'm not going to show you the responses to her.
Okay.
Her comment. This is, choose to do what you do. But this first response is interesting. And you can imagine the litany of responses to her. She says, "You are so petty and classless, even in victory. Nothing but an arrogant PM that divides people to rule over the spoils."
Yep.
And I'm not going to show you the responses to her, but let's just say I'm just here for the ratio.
Ooh.
Oh, evisceration? Wow. Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
Look, here's the thing.
I would be like, yeah, fuck yeah. I'm petty and classless today. Deal with it. Cope.
You want to call out a Canadian
PC.
in a victory like that. The victory had more. Look, you know what? This victory is similar to the 1980 Team USA, the Miracle on Ice, beating the Russians. It has that same significance. Afghanistan had just invaded, or been invaded by the Russians. The U.S. was in terrible dire straits. They just elected and a new president had just been. Reagan didn't take office until 81, correct?
Yes, he was elected in 80, took office in January 81.
Correct. Yeah, I was confused. So there was the Iraqi, Iran
hostage thing.
Thank you. The Iran hostage thing. There's a lot going on. The Americans were taking it on the chin, and we all felt bad for them because it was like, and they beat Team Russia, which at the time was unquestionably the best hockey team on planet Earth. I mean, They had Tretiak, they had everybody. It was an amazing team.
Right.
And they lost to a bunch of 18, 19-year-old college kids, mostly from Minnesota, in what's been dubbed the Miracle on Ice, because, I mean, realistically, they never should have won that game. And I remember sitting down in front of the TV when I was living in Gander, Newfoundland. I turned it on, and Olympics, Team USA and Russia, well, this is going to suck. They're going to get blown out. It'll be like 9-0 after the first period. And I watched the first period and went, okay. That was interesting. I watched the game. They won. And I was just as excited at that victory as I was last night. And that's the truth, because it was a hell of a victory. It was like David and Goliath, and David won. Last night was David and Goliath. And once again, David won. David always wins against Goliath, which I thought was ironic when recently I read a couple of American Congress people saying, "Oh, Canada, you have no idea. You're about to face Goliath."
Goliath. Like, it's like, did you read that story to the end?
You don't know how that story goes, do you? You've seen those statements, right?
I've seen them. It's like, did you? And of course, like, it probably you click on the profiles like Christian, God-fearing. It's like,
yeah.
It's like, you didn't read that story to the end.
You did. You've never read it.
You've never read it.
You've never read it. Because clearly, if you did, you would know that the victor was David. The little guy beat the giant. You know.
Oh my God. Okay. I don't really want to move on to other things, but I don't really have any much more to say. But I love this happy vibe and good feelings.
Well, I got to show you this one. This is cute. You'll love this. This is from Gator Gum. We follow on Twitter. Dear haters, suck it. Sorry, Canada. And it's just a screen cap of the PM cheering, right? Captain Canada last night. Look, folks, you can hate the PM. I don't care if you love or hate the guy. I really don't. It doesn't mean shit to me. I don't know him. I have met him. He's really dreamy. Not going to lie. He's a good-looking man. Whether you love, hate, respect, disrespect, I don't care. Last night, every Canadian in this country was on equal ground. We all were united to beat the USA. PNC Bio, you are correct. It's hard not to argue that we are the Goliath in the hockey world in the sense that we are the giants. But when I say David and Goliath, I'm referring to the fact that we're the smaller nation when it comes to population.
Yes. When the David and Goliath quotes were particularly having to do with the trade stuff and not the hockey stuff when they were coming from the Americans. But yes, technically, in hockey, we are the Goliath. The problem is that when it comes to the United States, the David didn't want to seem to recognize that.
No.
Right. But on overall international relations, yes, we are David. So it's like, let's take our joy in this hockey victory where we can, right? Because on other scales, other metrics, the win won't come as quickly.
Indeed.
For us, it will require us to use some hockey metaphors to get some elbows up and be the first to come away from the boards with the puck.
Well,
when the battle's in the corner.
When I sat down, I went to the pump to watch the game, and when I sat down,
lucky you.
When I sat down with my friend Al, I got there at 7:00, right? They actually had reserved a spot for me at the bar, but I saw Al had a table, and I sat with him, and they were like, yeah, okay. I'm like, yeah, anybody wants to sit there, go ahead. So I sat down with Al, and he said, look, I'm a little nervous tonight. I go, yeah. I said, look, if we win, we're going to celebrate like demons. And if we lose, we will take it admirably and say, hey, it's just a hockey game. But if we win, are we going to be smug? He chuckled. He goes, you know what? You're right. I go, if we lose, to the victor go the spoils. You beat us fair and square. Hey, great game. Thanks for coming out. We will be magnanimous. Because let's face it, we are always the best when it comes to that. We are the superior. Magnanimous, it means the superior officer in the military is being granted an appreciation from the lower ranking officer.
Right.
So we would have been magnanimous had we lost.
Yes.
We didn't. So now we're going to be smug pricks.
No, we don't have to be. No, I guess there's something to being graceful in victory. That's a luxury for another day.
Well, the Prime Minister tweeted, "You can't take our country, and you can't take our game."
Boom.
And this is a retweet. I'll show you this because I can't. I'm going to try and I got to blow it up a little bit because if I show any of the footage, we might get dinged. There we go. I'll just be able to show this, and this is from Republicans against Trump. Breaking. Canada defeats USA to take home the Four Nations championship. Canadian PM Justin Trudeau tweeted, "You can't take our country and you can't take our game." I can't scroll down because if I do, we'll probably get a ding because it shows footage from the game.
Okay.
And it's a Sportsnet coverage. So I want to show it to you, but I don't feel like having to cut out.
I hear
That's the thing. I have to go in and edit all this stuff. And yeah.
Sometimes it's not worth it. All right. Some news for you. Oddly enough, I have to say the last few days have been relatively slower news days, which is quite nice, to be totally honest. Oh my God. But there has been some big news. The first one in the series of 3 clips I sent you, Mr. Grizzly.
I'm sorry, could you say that again?
In the series of the 3 clips I sent you, the first email I sent you,
yeah,
there were 3 links. The second link has to do with the Premier in Canada who zagged while everybody else is zigging.
Yes, I do have this.
While in Nova Scotia, Premier Tim Houston went early to fit in an election, and while Doug Ford went early to sneak in an election, progressive conservative Premier of Prince Edward Island, Dennis King, decided he was going another way.
We're ready. Well, hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Bonjour, Quay. Thank you very much for joining us here today, and for those who are tuned in online, and for many of my caucus members who are here in the room with me today, and of course, our friends in the media. I suppose it's a little bit fitting that we gather here today in this room, for a room that where I've spent so much time over the past almost 6 years, often during some very trying and uncertain times. COVID-19, potato wart, threat of violence on our schools, and during some of the most destructive hurricanes to ever hit our province's shores. Those were tough days, many of them long, working well into the night along with my cabinet colleagues and so many professional public servants who set aside their lives to do whatever they could to help our province move forward. But there have been very many positive moments here too, moments to share new programs and new government services, updates on transformative change that our government led, or moments where we've been able to share that we were turning the corner as a province and that the light at the end of the tunnel was bright and that better days were ahead. while it's easier to remember the challenges, I suppose, I stand here today knowing and feeling that there have been more positives than negative over the last 6 years. Through all of those moments, whatever the situation, as your Premier, I've tried to be honest, upfront, and sincere, and I've tried my very best to connect directly and genuinely with Islanders and not just talk to you. And today I'm bringing those same principles as I share with you some news that is a little bit maybe shocking and difficult and emotional for some, but it's news that I believe is in the best interest of the government, in the best interest of our party, in the best interest of the people of Prince Edward Island, and the best interest of my family. Earlier today, I shared with my caucus colleagues that I would be stepping down as the Premier and the leader of the Progressive Conservative Party of Prince Edward Island, effective noon tomorrow. Over the holidays, I had a long conversation with my family, and we came to the decision at that time that I wouldn't be reoffering in the next election. And since that time, I have been thinking long and hard about when might be the best time to share that news with our caucus and with Islanders, and when would be the appropriate time for me to step aside and allow for new leadership for our province. And I struggled with it, honestly, because in reality, there is no perfect time. I have felt for a while that, and I knew that I had more runway behind me than I did perhaps in front of me. Further complicated with the threats of tariffs and the threats to our country's sovereignty and economic uncertainty, and realizing that those aren't going to be simple issues that are going to disappear in a few days or weeks. They will require the attention every minute of every day for the next 4 years. And that really helped me determine that it was best for me to hand the baton of leadership to someone who can be focused for the long term. And I've always known that leadership is more than just one person. Over the last number of months, I have been comforted to see the strength and ability and consistency of so many in our caucus, to watch them stand up and to take action and to lead in difficult times. That comfort, quite honestly, allowed me to take and make what I believe in my heart is the best decision for our province, for our party, for our country, and for my family. And to be clear, my health is fine. I'm doing very well. And while I know this might be shocking news to some today, or at least some people, as I told them, they have told me it's shocking, I do feel that I have repeatedly said time and again that I wouldn't be a lifer in this job, and that once I had made up my mind, I would move on, and that's where it brings me to today. As is the traditional convention, and in keeping with the bylaws of our provincial party, an interim leader and Premier will be chosen by caucus and the provincial executive, and an official announcement on that will be made in the hours ahead. To that person, though, I would say this, that the job of Premier is a very special job. It's a position that Islanders hold very dear. They keep a very close eye on you, and it's a job that carries with it a heavy burden of responsibility. But it's also a great privilege and honor to sit in the chair, and for every second that you're in that chair, I would ask you to please remember that there are good days and there will be tough days, but always remember it's about people. As Islanders, I think we've had an unfair deal for quite a while when you look at COVID and hurricanes and pandemics and potato wart. As a government, though, I believe in the face of those challenges, we were able to accomplish many great things, many of them that I will look back on and remember very fondly, and many that I believe Islanders will benefit from, not just for today, but for many years to come. We have changed the face of healthcare delivery and PEI and have made the most significant advancements in patient care in a generation. We have launched many new and innovative health services, making healthcare more accessible than ever before. Programs like Pharmacy Plus, our mobile mental health units, our single point of access, the mental health emergency department short stay unit, and so many others. We're training more healthcare professionals in this province than ever before in our history, offering many of them free tuition and a job guarantee after they complete their studies. This summer, the first cohort of 20 island students will start their journey to becoming doctors right here in Prince Edward Island at the University of Prince Edward Island's new medical school. We reached an historic agreement with our island doctors, being the first to recognize family medicine as a specialty, reducing red tape to allow them to spend more time providing care, and increasing wages across the board to help with recruitment and retention. We've hired 43 new doctors in the last 14 months, a record number. We've increased the basic personal tax exemption to $14,250, an increase of over $5,000 since we took power in 2019, keeping more hard-earned money in the pockets of islanders. And this past year, we reformed the income tax system even further to make it more fair for more islanders. We increased income thresholds on virtually every program across government to launch programs like free heat pumps and free insulation, free hot water heaters to help not only with affordability, but with keeping people in their homes longer and making their homes more energy efficient in the process. We launched an island-wide pay-what-you-can hot lunch program that provides healthy meals to our students so they can learn and develop without being hungry, and to help families with affordability. We increased Toonie Transit from tip to tip in this province. We've increased social assistance rates more than any government before us, helping the most vulnerable meet their basic needs and live a productive life in our province. We hosted the nation in 2023 as the host of the Canada Games, and still to this day are known as the best host in the history of the Canada Games. We've grown the economy and the workforce, having more businesses operating today and more than 90,000 workers in the workforce, generating more economic activity to help fund essential services such as healthcare, education, and social programs. We've hired more frontline staff in the education system than ever before, adding hundreds since 2019, allowing our students to get the best start in life. We're building new schools, new hospitals, more homes than ever before, and we're catching up on the essential infrastructure we need to keep pace with our growing population. And that's just a partial list. And one of the things that I'm most proud of is that we changed our politics in this province. I came into this job in 2019 and said that I was going to do it differently, that I didn't care about the color of politics, I didn't care about the partisanship of politics, I only cared about the people who called this province home. Politics in Prince Edward Island is vastly different today than it was in 2019, and I stand here proudly to say that politics in PEI is the hallmark of goodness and decency in the Canadian landscape, and a beacon of hope and kindness in a world that needs it now more than ever before. And I know that the political world always changes, but it remains my great hope and wish that what we started here in 2019 can and will continue for many years to come, because the world needs it and Islanders really respond positively to it. And just before I take questions from our friends in the media for the final time, I do want to take the opportunity to thank so many people who played an important role in the last 6 years. And this is where the speech will get difficult for me, but first of all, to my family, this position is very hard and challenging for families. Too many times, my wife and kids have lost almost every face-off to the demands of this job. To my wife, Jana, nobody has given more to this than you. You have seen the best and the worst of me, but you were always there to pick me up and to cheer for me. You gave up parts of you so that I could do this job. You bit your tongue more times than one person should ever have to. You picked up the duties that I couldn't do so that our kids wouldn't miss out on being kids. You are quite simply the best person I've ever known, and I promise I will spend the rest of my life trying to make up for all that you've given up and all the time I've taken from you and from us. And I love you very, very much.
You got me.
To Jake and Cam and Cal, my kids, you've grown up so fast. You've had to share Dad with thousands of Islanders at concerts and restaurants and rinks and ball fields. But you always did so with a smile and a level of patience and understanding wise beyond your years. I just love you all so much, and your mom and I are so proud of the wonderful, kind humans you are. To my cabinet and caucus colleagues, past and present, thank you so much for your service, all of you. Thank you for your dedication to making our province a better place to live, work, and to raise a family. I'm proud of what we have accomplished over the last 6 years, and I know that you will continue to serve Islanders and provide leadership to our province and our country in the days and months and years ahead. And I promise you that nobody will cheer harder for you than I will. To the dedicated staff who worked every day and were integral to helping our team find success, I can't say thank you enough. For those of you who have never done it, you can never understand, but a job in the Premier's office isn't a regular job. It isn't 8 to 5. It's countless hours over and over and over. It's evenings, it's weekends, it's holidays, it's storm days, it's summer vacation days. It's literally 24/7, 365 days a year. And I have been blessed with just incredible, selfless, dedicated members of staff who haven't just become friends, they have become family. For your unwavering support, your dedication, and your passion, for helping fuel me so I could keep going every day over the last 6 years, I am forever grateful. Each of you, you know who you are, many of you are in the room today, will forever hold a special place in my heart, in the heart of my wife and my family, and the hearts of our extended families from Summerside and Georgetown and all points in between. To the residents of District 15, who I've had the pleasure of representing over the past 6 years as your MLA, I say thank you for placing your confidence in me twice to be your voice in the provincial legislature. It has been a privilege and an honor of a lifetime, and I thank you so much for the opportunity. And last, but certainly not least, to Islanders, one and all, I have had the great honor and pleasure to have been Premier during what I believe has been a very consequential time in our province's history. Because of what we have gone through together, I have been given the gift of being very close and connected with so many of you. It has been hard, it has been emotional, it has been difficult, it has been challenging, but it has been the gift of a lifetime. Thank you for your confidence, thank you for your trust, and thank you for your unfailing support. Twice I was fortunate enough to garner your support in an election, and I tried hard every day to make sure you knew it was something I never took for granted. What got me out of bed each morning was knowing that you, the proud people of Prince Edward Island, put that trust in me for a reason. And I knew the only repayment for that privilege was to put my heart and soul into it every single day. You gave me your trust, and I gave you my very best. So thank you, PEI. It has been the privilege of a lifetime serving as your 33rd Premier. I thank you for everything. And with that, I'll...
Wow. Bro went there. I mean,
He's a good man.
this is the vibe I get. I don't know nearly enough about him or how he has governed the province of PEI. Admittedly, somebody earlier in the chat said I don't know nearly enough, and I'm like, you know what? I have a lot of friends from PEI, a lot of friends. I don't know nearly enough about the political situation in the province. I think largely due to the fact that it's Canada's smallest province, both geographically and population-wise. But I will tell you this. Islanders are tough and strong, just like Newfoundlanders and Labradorians, tough and strong. But the difference between Labrador and the island of Newfoundland is there's a difference. Labrador's on the mainland. Islanders are tough and strong, and they're made of a different stock because they have to be. It's not easy to live in those places. It's hard scrabble. I know. I've lived in Newfoundland. And some of the greatest people and most friendliest people I've ever met in my life are from Newfoundland and PEI. And anybody who has ever been there would damn well know that.
Yep.
Not taking away anything from anybody else in the Maritimes.
Right.
There's just a different thing with Islanders. There's just
Right.
a different thing. It's different. That's all.
Yep.
That's all I'm going to say. I don't want to offend or upset anybody, but it's just different, you know. And that was probably the greatest resignation speech I've heard in a very long time.
Yeah. Really brings home the cost.
Oh yeah.
This, right?
Yes.
Now when we had the Prince Edward Island election not too long ago, politics are just different on Prince Edward Island, right? I think it was the leader of the Green Party had a death in the family, and took a couple of days, and you could see that all the parties really rallied around this person around that time. And things are different because there's about 180,000 people on the island. So when you're premier, you're bound to run into people at the grocery store, at the post office.
Oh yes. Yeah.
At the hardware store, right? It's like what Justin Trudeau has been prime minister for 9 years. I've never crossed his path once.
I luckily
that
have.
probably would not happen if I lived in Charlottetown with the premier. Probably crossed his path a couple times in a month.
Oh, no doubt.
Right? So it's different. The CBC article here says, with a population of about 180,000, Prince Edward Island has an intimate political culture. That means politicians are expected to answer questions about their actions on that kind of tough issue when they meet voters in the grocery store, in church, at weddings, and at funerals. But all in all, King said there have been more positive than negatives over the last 6 years. He is respected, even among his peers from other parties. He's the 33rd premier. He had previously been a political commentator and director of communications in the former Premier Pat Binns' office, while holding down a sideline as a storyteller, actually. So again, where people come from and enter politics often give you an indication too.
Mm.
Right? You would hope that a storyteller would be a good person.
One would think, yeah.
Right? He won the leadership in February 2019. The PCs later earned a minority government and a provincial election in April that year, before a by-election gave them a slim majority. Islanders gave King government a second term, this time with a majority in a provincial vote in 2023. When you look at his personal popularity, it's pretty good. King is stepping down at a time when his popularity is still relatively high in comparison to most other Canadian premiers. The most recent narrative research data last November suggested that King was Islanders' preferred choice for premier at 40% of those polled. So, still, after that number of years, enjoying relatively high popularity. How would I put it? He says, if you help 75% of the people, it's an amazing feat. But there's 25% that don't get helped. And in PEI, you know who they are.
Mm-hmm.
They're probably your neighbor. They're probably your friend. And that brings in with it a tremendous toll of responsibility and burden. There were days that, like many Islanders, I found it hard to get out of bed because I was tired and stressed and going through many mental health challenges. And then my family went through all of that. And it takes its toll. So, not only did he seem to have a good relationship with the people and have a good relationship with his colleagues, but people were surprised.
Nobody saw this coming.
Nobody saw it coming. Even the opposition MLAs said so. Another story by CBC here says, some MLAs from the PEI Liberal and Green parties wish Premier Dennis King well as he walks away from political office, but they say the timing of the announcement has them concerned. The resignation came just days before the spring legislative sitting was due to begin, with the threat of American tariffs looming and ready to ram the island's resource-based economy. Quote, Islanders expected King to bring forward a budget with a clear plan to address the serious economic threat that Islanders may face, interim Liberal leader Hal Perry told CBC News, referring to the possibility of American tariffs. So, yeah, you got that. That is true, but again, Islanders are resourceful, scrappy, and they'll figure that out. That's not a problem. It's not ideal, but it's not a problem.
I think in many ways, Islanders fit the description of Canadians in the sense that do not mistake our kindness and compassion for weakness.
Yeah.
You do so at your own peril.
Yeah. Yeah. Green MLA Matt McFarland said he was surprised by the announcement coming at a precarious time for the island, citing local issues like healthcare and housing, as well as U.S. President Donald Trump's tariff threat. So, yes, you have this, but as well, right? It's a shocking day, and I wish him the best. It couldn't have been an easy decision, said Liberal MLA Gord McNeely. I just want to wish him the best in his future endeavors. Someone else said, the decision to enter politics and the decision to exit politics is a deeply personal one. I wish the Premier well in his future endeavors, and whatever might be next for him and his family, I wish them all the best. And then even McFarland, who was a bit concerned about the timing, said a little earlier than I would have expected, but the Premier has his reasons for making the decision that he's making, and I wish him well. Right? So, you see, even in the opposition moment, right? Like in Ontario, this would have really been, oh my God, I can't believe he left us in a moment like this. And this is like, well, it's a little concerning. We thought he would be there for this part, but it is a personal decision. We wish him well. So, a little temperance, right? Just a little temperance.
Yeah, temperance.
Yeah. Also, I think Angus Reid fairly often does the Premier's performance evaluations. And based on that, funny. I was looking for it. Angus Reid doesn't actually poll for Dennis King.
Of course.
I've got the results for 9 premiers. But the premiers of the territories in Prince Edward Island are out there. So I was going to say, compared to Ford and Legault, who in December, 34 and 36%, he was at something percent, but there's no data for him. Thank you, Angus Reid. Now, this doesn't mean that we'll be getting a new election at Prince Edward Island, because I think the mandate was renewed with a majority in 2023. So they still have the mandate. Right. Government, in this case, the party will have to pick a new leader. Right. And given that Dennis King is resigning from everything immediately, it's not like I'm announcing at the end of my term or whatnot, like he's leaving. As Premier, as leader of the party, and as MLA or MPP. I'm not sure if they're MLAs or MLAs in Prince Edward Island. That he's not staying anymore. He's exiting all the way. So Rob Lance is the MLA who will take over those jobs. He's a past leader who has most recently been acting as the King government's education and early years. Pardon me.
You all right there?
Yep, sorry. I just had a bit of a frog in my throat there. So yes, he is the King government's education and early years minister. So he'll be taking over as Premier for now until they have a leadership race and party leader. But yes, there will not be another election immediately as a result of this. So we're getting a lot of interesting throughout Canada civics opportunities to learn stuff, right, with what's going on. I mean, we have a rather unique situation at the federal Liberal level where the leader of the party is stepping down eventually once you pick a new leader, but this new leader potentially may not even have a seat in Parliament yet.
Mm.
So it's a bit of a unique situation. It might be a once in a lifetime thing for us, but of course our system allows and plans for it. In Prince Edward Island, you have a premier that's just leaving early, but they already have a majority government. And in Ontario, you have a premier, and in Nova Scotia earlier, you had premiers that quit a mandate early in order to
Yes.
be able to run an election. And then we have the old caretaker government stuff during that time. And here at the federal level, prorogation versus caretaker government. And what do they really mean? So we've had a lot of opportunities for civics. And I'm not sure where that court case went to, because I know Democracy Watch.
I
that
think it's
court
supposed
case,
to be heard sometime this week, I'm
it
told.
was heard. I was told it was heard on the 13th or 14th, and that
Okay.
a decision would be coming around the end of the month or early
Right.
March. But I mean, if the vote is on the 9th, then the Parliament's supposed to come back on the 27th, and then they come back with a decision. The court says, yes, Parliament absolutely must go back, which I don't see how a court would actually rule that in this case.
Well, and when I first heard this lawyer bringing this case forward, I thought, well, what's this all about? And then I discovered that this individual, in hindsight, says, I wish I had done this the 4 times that Stephen Harper prorogued Parliament.
Yes.
So I'm like, oh, okay. So you don't hate. It's not a liberal. It's not a political party or a leader thing. It's
a group called Democracy Watch that
I know there's
wins some things, but every now and then
there's some specious aspects to them. Let's just say that. Yeah.
Every now and then. Yeah. Not saying that they don't do good work. They've won several cases.
Yes.
But they're doing another thing too, trying to bring up the SNC thing all over again.
Yes, yeah, I saw that. They're trying to reopen that, right?
So that one seems a little more specious to me on that one, because if you have the actual Attorney General at the time saying under oath there was no crime, and if you actually pass a law that says that you can use deferred prosecution agreements, then at some point, if there comes an opportunity to use one, you got to talk about one at some time, which would involve talking to the either Minister of Justice or Attorney General, whichever hat they have at that given time for this particular conversation. But there has to be a way to talk to them, and talking to someone isn't pressuring. Because they're trying to say that the fact that he even talked about it means that it's pressure. No, the rules actually allow for this. And it seems that the big problem is when they wrote the rules, they didn't write rules that had clear lines of communication between Prime Minister and Cabinet and either the Minister of Justice or the AG. In this case, it's like, would they be, because in Canada, the Minister of Justice and the Attorney General are the same person. They're not separate functions. And it was recommended after we studied this that we make separate functions of it. It was decided not to. So if the Prime Minister is not supposed to speak to the Minister of Justice or to the Attorney General, about cases, but can speak to the Minister of Justice about the law, and we're talking about different prosecution agreements. So it seems that the main problem is that they didn't write a clear protocol for how to talk to each other so that it wouldn't be considered pressure when the situation came up. And then the situation came up and they talked about it, and someone decided after it was that they were removed from one position and offered another one, refused it, and then offered another one, which is unheard of in government, because you don't refuse a position, or you don't say, I don't like that one, I would rather have this one instead. You serve at the pleasure of the Prime Minister. It's not a negotiation. Right? It's like, no, I would rather this instead. And this Prime Minister has done this twice now.
Yes.
For 2 people. Offered them something they didn't want, and then offered them something else. Christopher Freeland was the same thing. He offered her something else. She didn't want it.
Well, and here's the thing that everybody needs to remember, and it's ironic. Oftentimes, when you are in a working position and you have a boss, they may offer you a job that you don't want to do. And I know how much that sucks. and you have the right to refuse to do that job and retire your position.
Yes.
But that's just how it goes in life. You are
Yes.
often asked to do things you don't like and don't want to do. When you reach a certain time in your life, like myself, where my body is broken and I keep getting job offers to do what I used to do, I have to kindly turn them down because I cannot physically do them anymore.
Right.
It's not that I'm not willing to do the work. It's that if I do it, it's going to kill me.
Right. It's not that you have a lack of work ethic.
I mean, that's 20, 30 years of 60, 70, sometimes 80-hour weeks is not a big deal to me. I'm at a point in my life where 37 and a half is more than I want to work. If I could have a 4-day work week and a 3-day weekend
Mm-hmm.
and earn the money I used to earn, I would be gloriously happy.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to happen for somebody my age and as broken as I am. I don't know what I'm going to do when my EI runs out. I don't. I'm applying for jobs left, right, and center, and nobody's responding to me.
Yep. And this is the worst time to be applying for anything because people are holding back their money because of a threat of tariffs.
Everybody is scared shitless right now. So I don't know what I'm going to do in a few weeks, when the EI just says, sorry, you're out.
Yep. And that's the message to everybody, by the way. If you happen to be looking for work, it's not you.
No.
Don't take this as a hit to your self-esteem right now. Right now, it's not you. The entire game is set against you right now.
It is. And nobody is spending money on anything. So I don't know what I'm going to do in a few months. I don't know when my EI runs out. I only started it at the end of, I guess, early December. So, and even then, when my first couple of checks were like a quarter of what I was supposed to receive because they thought I was still getting, I have to call them and say, listen, guys, I know you thought I was getting a severance package. Here's the thing. They gave me one check in August, and I've seen nothing from them since. So if they told you they were still paying me, you go after them. I will show you my bank account. Here's the deposit. This is the one. You can go after my former employee and make them pay me what I am owed, or you can pay me what I'm owed. But either way, I got one check, and that was it. Any other money I received after that was me cashing in RRSPs and deferred profit sharing program stocks so that I could keep my head above water.
Right.
So good paying jobs are hard to find. A job that I can functionally do is hard to find. Yeah. I mean, I am technically, I guess you could say, self-employed in the respect that I do own a corp. I own my own corporation, and I'm a partner in this corporation. But the money that we generate through True North Eager Beaver Media, I can't survive on that.
No,
I can't. It won't even supplement.
We're still too small.
Yeah. So what do I do? When I fill out my cards, as they used to call them, for employment insurance, they're like, "Have you worked?" I'm like, no. Do you want to call me sitting here? Sure, I guess technically you could just find this as work, but there's no generational income, and it's 2 hours in the morning. Right? So, I mean, look, man, there's no money in this, and I can do this. I'm good at this. I just need a way to generate enough income that I can survive.
Yeah. We can make it. We're well supported enough to recover costs.
But that's it
now. But yeah, we're nuts.
And I'm not whining. I'm just this
is a labor of love.
It's a labor of love. It's a simple statement of fact. This is what I know I can do and do well. How to generate money out of it is the thing. And I do know PNC Bio says Ontario works. I understand that, but that won't cover my rent. Yeah. It's not enough to cover my rent. It's $735.
Yeah.
That won't even cover my rent. So I don't know what I can do in the future. Everything is perilous right now.
Yep.
Everything is perilous. Look, I just started another promo. You don't even know this. I started another promo to try and gain more subscribers and viewers, because the more subscribers, the more viewers, the more money we can generate. But I don't even know how I'm going to pay for the promo. It ends on March 6th, and then they're like, give me $250. I'm going to figure out where that's going to come from.
It's a promo for what?
to promote the channel. For growth.
This one?
Yes, yes.
Hey, what's up, Fox? How are you? Okay. I think I might be able to
Sorry, I'm going to
give
scoot
ahead
home.
with that. Okay.
You have to come
Lovely
over
to see you.
later.
Yes, I'll see you later.
Okay.
Love you, Dan fam. Love you, Doug.
Love you too.
Douglas.
Thank you. That's okay. I love when people do that. Because people know I prefer Douglas than Doug. I don't get picky, but when people say Doug and then remember, oh no, Douglas, it's like, that give me just a little warm fuzzy.
Yes. Well, and here's something that Saucy Sea Witch is suggesting: Substack and writing freelance. I'm not a writer, but Substack. I don't know. Do we start a Substack for the show? I honestly don't know.
It might be a good idea to add one eventually.
It couldn't hurt,
that I'm
right?
feeding too many websites right now.
I know.
I'm trying to post content to too many places. There's only one of me.
Yeah.
There's only
Well, no, I get it. I know. Same thing.
Well, there's only one of you too, right? It was
Yeah.
like I'm behind on a couple of episode descriptions again. I was like,
and I'm having tech issues trying to post the next show
again, right? So I mean, we had like 9 of them go up relatively quickly, and then another snag.
Yeah. I'm trying. One show I keep trying to post, and the tech won't allow it. So I'm like, I got to figure out a workaround. It's like I might just have to post it as is with no edits.
Yep. Yep. If that's the case, we just need to put a little note in the description.
Yes. Yeah.
And to let the audio listeners do that. Yeah. If that's what it's going to be, let's just do that because.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no point making the work harder.
Well,
I know you pride yourself on the quality of your work and you want it to be right, but I mean, there's no point in making the work harder if it's not cooperating. It's just not cooperating.
This is true.
Yeah. One little thing wanted to mention again about Dennis King, since we were talking about him before we move on to something else, because we were asking about how he would be viewed. This is Cody McKay from CBC News. And this is really interesting because you don't hear people write about politicians this way very much anymore.
Mm.
When the time comes for people to look back and study let's try that again. When the time comes for people to look back and study the political yesterdays of Prince Edward Island Premier Dennis King, history will give a favorable review, says UPEI political scientist Don Desserud. Desserud spoke to CBC News after Thursday's announcement that King will be resigning as the island's 33rd premier, effective Friday at 1 p.m. Quote, they're going to say he was a premier that faced a lot of problems, an unprecedented number of problems, given the time that he was able to serve, he said. I'm losing my voice a little bit, as you can hear. I'm sorry, kids.
Yeah, no worries.
It's a long list, and to have to deal with so many things over that 6-year period, not that premiers across the country don't deal with crises all the time, but there seems to be a disproportionate number that they had to deal with. King took on the leadership role with PEI PC Party in February of 2019, promising at the time, quote, the best is yet to come, but without the screaming and the yelling like Kimberly Guilfoyle did. The best is yet to come. He didn't do that. What actually came was anything but the best. With the King government's first term consumed by 2 of the most devastating storms in Prince Edward Island history, post-tropical storms Dorian in 2019 and Fiona in 2022, essentially bookending the COVID-19 pandemic. Here you go, Premier. Congratulations. Deal with that. Yikes.
Yeah.
Desserud said King handled the turmoil that ensued, quote, with grace and dignity while prioritizing working with other parties to find and implement solutions. Quote, he did try very hard, I think, to work with other parties and get things done. Desserud said, history will look kindly on him as a premier with a personality that you don't often see at that level of politics. In his resignation speech Thursday, King showed more of that personality while reflecting on the toll the province's top job took on him and the long conversation he had with his family that eventually led to his decision to step down. Quote, my wife and kids have lost almost every face-off due to the demands of this job, said King. You've had to share dad with thousands of islanders, but you always did so with a smile. King also spoke bluntly in a speech about the challenge of being the Premier of Prince Edward Island, not only in dealing with large-scale problems, but in trying to fix the local issues that have reached a boiling point in recent years. Quote, that was a really interesting and very frank and very honest speech, Desserud said. Hats off to him for being so forthright. Early Friday afternoon, King will officially end his time as party leader, Premier, and MLA for Brackley Hunter River. Politics aside, Desrude said he's going to personally miss the King premiership, not just for the man's personality, but for the way in which he always looked forward to helping teach UPEI students about politics. Quote, he was always so generous with his time, he said. Whenever I asked him to come and speak with my students, he always said yes. He loved to come to talk to the students and was always so warm and approachable with them. I really valued that contribution he made to our program. He was a good man. He was good. He is a good man. He's not dead. He is a good man. So we need more premiers like that.
Indeed, sir. Can we migrate away from him for a moment?
Yes.
I need to. I think there's something that needs to be addressed here that we haven't had a chance to talk about yet. But I'm gonna try and pull up the thing, if you will. Yesterday, I'm sure you saw that Pierre Poilievre had a press conference at a food bank, if memory serves.
Yes.
And he
he was Pierre.
He was Pierre, of course he was. But the thing was, what news agencies were allowed to ask questions?
Yes, he too is back again. Only 5 questions or 6 or whatever thing, and this time not only 5, but from pre-selected.
Yes.
Media.
And who were they? Let's see, Rebel, True North,
the other True North,
some, and I can't remember the name of South Asian News Media Corp, the Oxygen Net Canada News, which is not accredited. Radio Canada. Now, why do you think he allowed Radio Canada?
Well, he's got to answer one question in French.
Not only that, but he knows if he disallows them, Quebec is like, yeah, screw you. Quebec has already said screw you to Poilievre.
Yes.
It's not happening. Dude.
Yes.
You're glowning. But he
glop.
Well, I mean, he goes on about how he's going to, this is the thing. We need to defund the CBC and have an independent, self-supporting media. Then he proceeds to say he'll fund right-wing media because it's not about the news, it's about fascist propaganda. If Pierre wins the election, you'll never hear the truth again. And that is the truth. He doesn't want a fair, he doesn't want balance. He wants things that favor him.
Yep.
And you're right, Linda. Rebel.
He wants to save spaces.
The Supreme Court says Rebel media doesn't generate enough original content to be considered media.
Right.
They're mostly ads. They're the Alex Jones of Canada, if you will. And I just
I know. This whole pre-selected media thing. It's if you are paying attention, Canadians, and not just here in Canada, but over, the Conservative brand overall as a brand has taken a hit.
Oh, yes.
You got Danielle Smith that needs 2 weeks to prepare an answer to how did these contracts exactly get signed? How did this specific content get into these contracts? We've got Doug Ford. Have you ever seen a premier of any province spend this much time and this much money in the United States of America during an election campaign?
Yeah. And there's no election taking place right now. This is the thing people keep saying. Well, the amount of people who have commented in the last little while about Pierre's going to win, Carney's going to lose. I'm like, Carney's going to lose what? Liberal leadership? He's not the Liberal leader. He's not the prime minister. There's no election that's been called. You're having an imagination here. I mean, go ahead and have your fantasy, but until an election is called, a federal election is called, and that won't be anytime soon because we don't even know who the next Liberal leader is. All signs point to, it's probably going to be Mark Carney, but there's no guarantee of that. We don't know what the party members are going to vote. It could very well be Mark Carney. We don't know that it will be. To say unless you have some sort of insider fixer information, you're full of shit. No one knows until it's announced. And then he becomes prime minister, or she becomes prime minister, whatever the case has been. It may be.
There's a couple of days yet, but yes.
So then the House reconvenes on March 24th, if memory serves. Is it March 24th?
24th or 27th? I can't remember which one exactly.
Something like
that.
It's
around there.
So then the House reconvenes, and then what are they going to have? Well, Poilievre will have a non-confidence vote immediately, right? But here's the thing.
Well, they have to do the speech for the throne, which is
There's stuff that has to take place, right?
Right.
So if we were to have a federal election, I can't see it happening before June, to be completely honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
And that would be a non-confidence vote, because I don't think the party that's sitting would actually call an election, because they don't have to until October at the earliest.
Unless they want to go. A lot of people are saying that Mark Carney might just be riding so high with this. Just pull the plug now before we even reconvene. That is an option.
Mm-hmm. There's so much on the table right now, but the folks are saying, well, Poilievre is going to win the next election. I'm like, what election? Nothing's been called. The writ hasn't been dropped. We don't know when that will be. It could be June. It could be October. It doesn't have to be until October 2026. So let's see what happens. Oh, Carol says Carney said he'd call an election right away. I have not heard that. I have not heard that. This is news to me.
I've not heard that either. Yeah. I've tuned out a couple of things, I have to say, for the last couple of days. I haven't been following the Liberal leadership as closely as I could. There's been a lot more announcements, but there's just been so much other news with other stuff that I just can't follow at all. So I have to admit I have dropped out on the most recent pronouncements. So if that happened, I missed it as well. And I did come across it in the news bits. I've been taking notes on, but there's lots going on.
So we try and keep on top of as much as we can, but can't do everything.
There's a Quebec Liberal leadership race going on. There's a by-election in Manitoba. There's an Ontario provincial election. There's a Liberal leadership race. It's just too much. And then thrown into there, the Premier Prince Edward Island says, "Hey, by the way, I'm going to resign today if you didn't have enough news." So it's like there's a lot going on. But over time, we hope that we get to all of it. Now, there was an interesting development yesterday, Mr. Grizzly. I think in the list of the 3 clips I sent you, the second one is an interview with none other but Ruby Dalla.
Yes, let's have a look, shall we?
She showed up on CPAC yesterday at Primetime Politics to discuss the fact that she received a questionnaire with allegedly 27 questions. Notice in this interview, I want you to notice a couple of things. Notice how fast she speaks. We have another fast talker.
Mm-hmm.
Notice notice the content, of course, and where she goes with things pretty quickly. And then I think when it's all done, there's going to be one key little element in her framing that makes it such that her story really doesn't stand. But you have to be paying attention.
Hello, everyone. I'm Michael Serapio. We'll have more on those stories in a moment. But first, to the Liberal leadership race and former Liberal MP Ruby Dalla. This morning, the Globe and Mail publishing a story about Ms. Dalla's campaign, citing unnamed Liberal sources that claim the party had sent the leadership hopeful a list of questions. The sources reportedly said the questions raised concerns about possible foreign interference and campaign irregularities. Now, later in the day, the Liberal Party denied their party's questions had anything to do with foreign interference from India. And now, to address the questions herself is Ruby Dalla. Ms. Dalla, thank you for taking the time and joining us.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here with you today.
So, as I said, the party says its questions had nothing to do with foreign interference. So I was wondering if you might clarify then what the questions were that was being asked of you.
It's internal party matter, so I cannot comment, but they did put forward a set of questions. We have given all of the requested information along with all of the supporting documentation that they requested. I was very shocked to read in the Globe this morning that there are these sources within the Liberal Party talking about foreign interference, and I can categorically say that it is completely false. It is unacceptable. I was born and raised here in Canada. I am running for the leadership of the Liberal Party of Canada and as Canada's next Prime Minister.
Was she born in Canada? I thought she was born in India. You're muted, sir.
Sorry, I forgot. I muted myself when I was blowing my nose. Sorry,
No worries. I thought Ruby was born in India. I don't know. I remember reading something about she was born in India.
Born Winnipeg. Yeah, no,
Okay,
born in Winnipeg.
So the information I read was incorrect. Okay,
Yes.
that's fine.
Born February 18th, so she recently had a birthday.
Well,
So-
good for her. Happy
Yes.
birthday.
Happy belated birthday. Now, first of all, you will notice a couple of things, right? Production values aren't strongest.
Yeah.
Put a pin in that because she's going to say something at the end of the interview that's completely hilarious. Again, we shouldn't look shame, but Mar-a-Lago face.
Well, I'm not look
Really?
shaming her, but like this is what's on her website. And
You should see her Wikipedia page. The photo is actually her back in 2012 before the work.
yeah, so this is the photo you're looking at now is her. That's what's on her elector
Yeah.
as Liberal leader, and it's not the same person.
It's not the same person.
And
And
again,
if you look at her Wikipedia page, the picture that she has, 2012, the person in the first picture is not the same person.
yes. And again,
As the
like I said,
2012.
I do not have an issue. She wants to get work done. It's her face. It's her body. She can do
Yep.
whatever the hell she wants. Not
But-
questioning that, but it's like what
But-
I do question is her state of mental health.
Mm.
As somebody who has mental health issues, a
Mm.
lot of them.
Mhm.
It's like if you present yourself to the world like this, but this is who you actually are. And you can say lighting, sure. Production, sure. Except one, would that be, what do they call it, Facetune?
Hmm?
I mean, that's not even the same person.
Mhm.
And again, I don't care if she's had work done. I don't give a damn
Yep.
about that. But I wonder, it's like, why would you present that photo to the world, which is a complete falsehood of who you are?
Yep. Yep.
I just,
And the other thing, though, however, when I say Mar-a-Lago face,
yes.
right? There's choosing to get work done because you're choosing it for you.
Mhm. Mhm. Look, I'd love to get
And
my
then
teeth
there's-
fixed, but I don't have $30,000 to do it.
Right. And then there's choosing to get work done in order to fit in
Mhm.
to some way. Right. And again, not all cases of wanting to have work done in order to fit in are bad.
Mhm.
Right.
Mhm.
I had a friend in high school who had a very, very, very big nose. And he was very self-conscious about it.
I've had a few friends who've done that too.
I thought his nose was fantastic.
He thought differently.
I won't say his real name, but John just would not be John without John's
Mhm.
nose.
Mhm.
Like my brother Robert has a staggle tooth up there. Like, and everybody's telling you could get that fixed, and it's like yes, but it's like
Then I wouldn't be
I-
me. Yeah.
I wouldn't like everybody knows him by his smile,
Well,
right?
I mean,
And the smile has
Freddie
a snaggle tooth.
Mercury, who
Same
had
thing.
all the money in the world, he could have gotten his teeth fixed, but he always thought that's what gave him his voice, so he never did it.
Yeah.
That's why Freddie Mercury always wore a mustache, almost always wore a mustache. It was to hide his teeth. Look, I'd like to get my teeth fixed and my nose fixed. What's wrong with my nose? It's been broken 3 times. I have sinus issues. I have problems as a result. Here's the thing. Oddly enough, because I'm not working right now, this would be the best time to go and get my nose fixed, right? Because
Right.
I don't have to take time off work. But And it's not a cosmetic thing for me. It's
Right.
literally because it's changed. The last time it was broken, it changed like an nth of a degree. It's literally the deviated septum. I have breathing problems as a result. I have sinus problems as a result. It's been broken 3 times.
Yep.
Could I get it fixed? Could I get it repaired? Yes. It's going to take time off work. And I am not somebody who recovers well from anesthesia.
Mhm.
My family, we have like, I don't want to say an allergy, but literally if I go in for surgery, I have had surgery. Last time I had surgery was like 30 years ago. And the doctor checked me out that day. And then he came in to check on me and he checked me right back in. He goes, "Oh, you can't go home." I'm like, "I know." It takes me a week to recover from surgery. It's like having a 2-week hangover, but the
Right.
worst hangover you can possibly ever imagine because I can't walk. I can barely speak. That's what happens to me.
Yep.
So if I go in to get my nose repaired, to get it fixed and straightened out, and I know I can get it done I can go see my doctor. I have an appointment soon. I could, and I talked to him about it once, and I said, but the problem is the time I have to take off work and blah, blah, blah. And I go, I don't have sick leave when I was working. I had 3 days a year. I need 2 weeks off to get my nose fixed.
Right.
Do I want to use my vacation time for that?
Right.
You know that in Europe, this is a fact. Most European countries, if you get sick while you're on vacation, you call your employer and say, "I'm sick. I'm in the hospital. Here's my doctor." They go, "No problem." They give you back your vacation time and put your time off to sick leave.
Oh, nice.
You get your vacation time back. In
Nice.
North America, we use our vacation time when we're sick.
Right.
Because we're just so smart.
That Protestant work ethic again.
Let's get back to the video here. Sorry,
yes,
I rambled.
Yes, that's okay. So, but my friend Johnny, not his real name, he did not like what he saw when he looked in the mirror, and he felt that it made him stand out in a way that was not positive.
Right.
And made high school experience tougher for him.
Yes, I understand that.
So he went and he got it fixed.
Mm-hmm.
That I understand.
Completely get. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
This, I want to be part of the club, so I'm going to do this to my face. I do not understand.
Yeah,
that's the part that when we're talking about mental health, that's the part I want to be accepted so badly that I'm willing to actually change my body.
Well, and the thing was, if you look at pictures of Ruby Dalla before she had this surgery, why would you do that? Why would you do that?
Yes. Well, that's the other thing. But we see that again, Kimberly Goofile and all of them as well. Like, look at pictures before and now.
Yeah.
Why did you do that to yourself?
I'm go ahead. It's your body, your choice. I don't even question it. It's just, I don't understand. Did you not see how beautiful you were?
But that's what I mean. There's a dysmorphia there.
Body dysmorphia, yes.
Because by any objective standard, there is no way that look is better than the look that they actually were born with.
Well,
it is not an improvement.
This is who she thinks she looks like, because this is what she posts on her Ruby Dalla for Liberal Leader campaign.
Yes.
This is her Liberal Leadership campaign photo. I mean, yeah, that's lovely. That's lovely, but that's not the same person.
Her. It's compressed.
Yeah.
It's not.
Let's get back to the clip.
That was being.
One other thing I want you to notice when she's talking, when I say fast talker, there's 2 types of fast talkers, right?
Mm-hmm.
We showed you the clip of Adriana LaGrange yesterday and Danielle Smith.
Yes.
Remember, Adriana LaGrange would, when there was questions that she really wasn't like where the question was going, she'd start answering before the questioner could finish.
Yes.
Fast talking in that way. Ruby Dalla does this thing when she's talking, where she talks fast, but instead of breathing between, she sips.
Oh.
I want to talk to this because I'm doing it. Sip. That's someone who's went to some type of media training school and talk fast, run out the clock, like this. Because if you take time to breathe, I think that's a really good idea. Somebody gives time to someone to come in. I think it's a really good idea because I think. But notice the sipping. It's a technique.
I don't know Ruby Dalla. I've never met her. I know almost nothing about her. I am concerned about her mental health and well-being, and I genuinely mean that. I genuinely mean that.
there will be something at the end of this interview that she says that will make you wonder that even more.
Okay, well, let's just watch. It's 7 minutes and 28 seconds. There's about 7 minutes left.
Interference. So I was wondering if you might clarify then what the questions were that was being asked of you.
It's internal party matter, so I cannot comment, but they did put forward a set of questions. We have given all of the requested information along with all of the supporting documentation that they requested. I was very shocked to read in the Globe this morning that there are these sources within the Liberal Party talking about foreign interference, and I can categorically say that it is completely false. It is unacceptable. I was born and raised here in Canada. I am running for the leadership of the Liberal Party of Canada and as Canada's next Prime Minister, and to insinuate because I am of Indian origin, because I am a woman of color from a multicultural community in Canada, to paint me with a brush of foreign interference as I'm running for one of the top leadership jobs of our country, it's simply unacceptable.
Okay. I hear what you are saying, but are you...
It has nothing to do with any of that. It has to do with the actual content you have posted.
Yes. Yeah.
The reason people think that there might be a foreign interference thing is because of the content you have posted.
Yeah. Okay, we'll continue.
That has nothing to do with all of that. And also, somebody, yes, she may have been born in Canada, but being born in Canada does not magically make it such that you are a person that would not be open to being influenced by a foreign agent.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Okay, but that's a logic, right? I can't believe they said I was born in Canada. That still doesn't mean you can't be influenced.
Look, we've had
that's not a magical shield.
To give you an example, there was a guy who worked for D&D for many, many years, a white, cis, het male, who was a spy for the Russians. Multiple generation, bloodline in this country.
Mm-hmm.
So just because you were born here doesn't excuse you. Okay, let's go.
Unacceptable.
I hear what you are saying, but are you making that jump? Because they are, the Globe and Mail, citing two unnamed sources saying that there were concerns around foreign interference, but you're making the jump that it is because of your Indian heritage.
Well, I will certainly not allow, anyone who is seeking any type of elected office in our country who is from an immigrant community or a multicultural community or someone of color to be painted with this brush of foreign interference. It is unacceptable. I know that I am making history by being the first woman of color who is running, for the leadership and as Canada's Prime Minister. And it is very important that the integrity of the process never be compromised. But I just found it shocking because I have been born and raised here. I have dedicated my life to the party, to public service in Canada, and I have spent my time on the campaign talking about real results, talking about issues that impact so many Canadian families.
Now, when you look at the report, they are citing unnamed sources. They say there are questions being raised, these sources, there are questions being raised about possible foreign interference. But when you go on into the report, there are also questions in the report itself about donations from 12 individuals and campaign staffers who work for your various companies, several of them donating to your campaign with the same credit card. How do you explain that?
Well, there are only a few people that have donated to the campaign with the same credit card. There is nothing wrong with that. An attestation was requested by the party, which is the rules of Elections Canada, and the attestations for those individuals having the same joint bank account was submitted, and there should be absolutely no issue with that because it is within the law, and we have ensured that all of our donations are compliant with Elections Canada.
Okay. You go ahead, Mr. Grizzly. You stopped it, so I'll let you go first.
So her signage is Ruby Dalla for PM. Okay, technically,
yes,
technically, this is running for PM. Technically, only because the Liberal Party is in power.
Mm-hmm.
only because the Liberal Party is in power, can you run for PM in this instance. But it's a specious statement.
You're still running for
Liberal leader.
Title you're running for.
Yes.
Now,
Yes.
As a person of color who was also born here, I find that deflection particularly offensive.
Maybe you should let her know that.
Okay. Nobody is campaigning on the fact that if you are a person of color, you are automatically assumed to be involved in foreign interference.
Yeah, it's not.
Okay.
That's not
That's not the thing. Okay. So that's particularly offensive. Yes, it is concerning that two people, because when we read that article to you, two people from the Liberal camp who are not authority, have no authority to speak about these things publicly, are speaking about these things publicly and suggesting that foreign interference does have something to do with it, but please protect our names and to put them out because we're speaking off record. We're not at liberty to actually be saying this. Could be something. She's legit upset about that. That probably should not have happened. But also, she says these allegations are false, does not say how or why they're false, doesn't say what is alleged because that's internal party matters, but they are false. They're categorically false, but you can't say why or how.
Yeah, just
right. Won't proactively volunteer that. That's always extremely suspicious. And the other thing is that she's going to try to make you believe now that this is just about the payments, right? Because 12 people, as we said in the article, were recorded to use the same credit card. Now, she clarifies in this interview, and you'll hear it later, that it's not 12 people who used the same credit card, but 6 couples, which makes 12 people, and each couple used the same credit card, husband and wife. They signed an attestation, came from a joint bank account, right? Now, if that is the case, that does not require 27 questions to find out now, Ruby. Does it?
Well, and what PNC Bio stated that I've posted on screen, she was doing this shadiness with multiple donations from the same credit card, but she blames it on racism. It's not crazy that the Liberal Party wanted clarification.
And they are staffers and employees who are supporting her campaign who work for her other businesses.
Yeah.
Right. These are not organic expressions of support from general members of the public who do not already have a pre-established relationship with her.
You smell that? Yeah, it stinks.
There's something wafting in the air. It's something that deserves to be looked into. But again, the questionnaire she received had 27 questions. And I'm sure that all 20, it does not take 27 questions to say, this couple, this couple, this couple, this couple, 6 couples, like this, did they use the same account? That's 6 questions if they ask it in 6 different questions for each couple. If they ask one general question, that's 1. You had 27 questions. I think certain other of those questions were about something else than those transactions.
Well, this
I'm going out on a limb here, but
this post in the chat from Linda M. Maybe she threatened to make race and culture an issue if the party disqualified her due to no French, and they are letting her go on to prevent that taking over the leadership race. I can see it. Yeah. Okay. Mr. Jim, this is a cute one. I will give a $1,500 bonus to anyone who donates $1,000 to my campaign.
Yeah, really.
We don't know that to be true. That's merely speculation, but it's funny. Well, let's continue.
So your campaign has investigated these concerns and have come to the conclusion there's nothing untoward about them?
Well, there was nothing wrong because you can, according to Elections Canada, have a husband and wife, which was a situation in our campaign, who donated with the same bank, with the same credit card, as long as they have a joint account. And the people, that had done that have provided the attestations to Elections Canada, to ensure that they are in compliance. And it was the Liberal Party of Canada who directly contacted those members to seek that attestation, which is a requirement. So all donations to our campaign have been compliant with Elections Canada. And
forgive me, I'm trying to understand this then. Is it, for example, one family then using the same credit card to make different donations? It's a husband and wife who have
bank account, which is probably familiar to many people. They have one bank account, and they have it's a joint bank account, and they have used their credit card as a family that they have for the husband and the wife both donating to the campaign.
Okay. Although, again, the report seems to cite 12 individuals, 6 couples, amongst them using the same credit card.
Yes, there are 6 couples in that situation from the hundreds of donations that we received.
So 6 couples using 6 different credit cards, but 6 couples on one.
No, 6 couples using 6 different credit cards because there are 6 separate husbands and wives and 6 separate families.
Okay.
Thank you for the clarification.
Now, of course, this report comes out just days ahead of the first of 2 leadership debates to take place with the Liberal Party. Does this affect your participation in those debates whatsoever, the report that came out today?
Well, I certainly hope not, because I have been spending not even days but weeks preparing for the debate. I'm looking forward to getting onto the debate stage of taking a look at sharing my vision for Canadians, for the future of our party, about bringing it back to the center, talking about the issues of unaffordability in housing, the increase in crime rate in our country, the increase in grocery prices, and also talking about the challenges that business people and entrepreneurs are facing with the overburdening of tax.
I got to stop her right there. Every time a politician goes on about the cost of groceries and how they're going to do something to make a change, I'm like, unless you nationalize it, unless you nationalize the grocery change, you're lying to us.
You be lying.
And anybody who believes that any politician can automatically lower the price of groceries, again, let me tell you this. I have this huge plot of land in northern Saskatchewan. It's oceanfront property. I'll give it to you for a great price.
I know you lie, your lips are moving.
Unless they nationalize the grocery change, there is no politician in this country that can do anything to lower grocery prices. They can put price caps on things, but that's not going to lower them. So it's the minute you say that, it's like you are lying through your teeth, and you expect me to believe it.
She thinks we're dumb.
Yeah. All right, we'll continue.
I'm looking forward to having Mr. Carney on stage, because our internal polling is showing that Mr. Carney and myself are running neck to neck in this particular leadership race. So I'm looking forward to a robust and a vigorous debate with Mr. Carney and all of the candidates.
What metric?
I told you she was going to say something that would make you wonder about the stability of her mental health.
What metric shows that? I mean, this is not a racial thing. This is not a male-female thing. What metric can anybody show to me that would say they're neck and neck?
It isn't the fundraising numbers. She raised the least out of the 5. It isn't the number of donors. She had the smallest one out of the 5. I don't know where it is. She's getting the impression that she is running neck to neck. No, it's neck and neck with Mark Carney, but clearly she is delusional.
Well, this is,
and if she does have internal polling numbers that show that she is running neck and neck with Mark Carney, and that isn't indeed the case, then the Liberal Party should be really looking at the people that are signed up for memberships, because I find that very hard to believe with that little money and that few donors that she is running neck and neck, that she has anything whatsoever that would tell her that she is running neck and neck.
Or they keep whispering in her ear, "You're going to win this. Don't worry. You're neck and neck with Mark Carney. Don't worry." I am dying to watch that debate. Look, I know next to nothing about Ruby Dalla. I know next to nothing about her. She has some media.
That would be one reason why it would be hard to believe that she's running neck and neck with Mark Carney.
She has some media training, obviously. She's good on camera. She knows how to speak. Look, Mark Carney's going to eat her for breakfast. We saw the interview with Rosie Barton, where she was combative and argumentative, and he, unlike Pierre Poilievre, wasn't offended, wasn't angry, didn't respond with, "Well, that's not the answer you want, but it's the answer I'm giving you." Nothing like that. He was calm, cool, collected, not combative. He was what you want in a prime minister.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Let's continue. There's about a minute and 18 seconds left, and I still can't believe she just.
Girl, you're too much.
That. I can't believe she just said that. My internal polling says we're neck and neck. I'm like,
it was worth it. It was worth getting through the 7 minutes just to see her face at that moment.
Like, what? Ruby, I don't know if you partake in cannabis, but you are not supposed to drink the bong water. Messing with your brain.
Has the questions that circulated today, do you think that has had a negative impact on your campaign?
Well, they're completely false, because I don't know if you've seen, but about an hour ago, these apparent sources, or I'm not sure exactly who the sources were, but there was a clarification issue to the Globe and Mail stating that it does not relate to foreign meddling. So I'm not really sure what is going on, or if any attempts are being made to actually discredit our campaign, because when you take a look at all 5 of the candidates that are running, including myself, I am the only outsider. I'm the only one that has not been involved with the current administration. I'm the only one that has not served as an advisor, as a minister, as a member of parliament. But I have been with the Liberal Party since the age of 14 years. But because I haven't been with the current administration, I am the outsider, and that is why there are, hundreds of thousands of Canadians wanting to see the party come back to the centre, wanting to see the party return to the hands of the memberships, to the hands of the grassroots, and I have been focusing on that vision and the needs of the hour.
Except she has been compared.
That was the least insane thing she said.
Well, she's been called Canada's Trump.
Yes.
And she's proud of that.
Yes.
She bragged about that.
Yes.
I wasn't, so Iron Fire.
While running for the Liberal Party.
I wasn't blaming cannabis for her peculiarity. I was questioning whether she was drinking the bong water.
Yes. Different.
There's a difference there.
Subtle difference, but a difference. Important one.
Yes.
Subtle but important difference.
I think so.
I am looking, when she says that the Globe issued a correction or precision, I went back to the article from yesterday, and I do not see any precision or revision in it. Doesn't mean it didn't happen or that they did it through another tweet somehow or whatnot, but I don't see it. And the host of the show did not refer to it, so I'm not sure if he was aware of it either, if it did indeed happen. So yeah. Really, really interesting.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see what happens. Also, it says here, there's another CBC article that says one of the reasons that people might be wondering. During her years away from Parliament, her social media activities showed her to be active in Indian politics, including helping Prime Minister Narendra Modi's Bharatiya Janata Party in state legislature elections in 2017. She has also repeatedly posted on social media about him and his party and visited Modi as part of a Sikh delegation in 2022. However, her posts predate Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's 2023 allegations that Modi's government has ties to the assassination of Sikh activists in British Columbia. So we do have to make note of pre that and post that, right? Because there's absolutely nothing wrong from someone who has even if they were born in Canada, has a background and heritage that is Indian.
Correct.
Looking to talk to the Indian Prime Minister. In some ways, there's nothing wrong with that.
There's no judgment there.
And that it was all before 2023, fine. Right? But she has been involved in Indian politics in support of a leader who then was not hostile to us at the time she was involved, but is now. And suddenly she just reappears on the scene. In an election where we have two Indo-Canadian candidates just suddenly appear on the scene while we're talking about this, and one was disqualified before.
Okay, everybody's getting mad at me. I wasn't blaming the weed, folks. I was making a joke about drinking the bong water. Not blaming cannabis.
It's a
Flame
joke.
cannabis,
Settle
flame
down.
cannabis, with the shifty little eyes and the munchies.
It's a joke. Have you not ever heard somebody say, "Do not drink the bong water"? It's an old joke. Settle down.
Okay. We Canadians, we love our weed, man. You've entered into dangerous territory, man. Elbows up.
Apparently. Jesus. I got to tell you something funny. So yesterday's show, we got a copyright violation for yesterday's show.
Well, we get them often, and then I go and look, and they say, there's some music playing there, and then I go to the timestamp. It's just us talking.
Yeah, well, that usually, but this one was 13 seconds. So I have to go in and erase it. And here's the thing, it was music that was in the background of a video clip. It was the Doug Ford. I don't know what the hell. I had to go in and erase it. So it's trying to update itself. And all it does, it doesn't block us. It just says it's ineligible for monetization. So I have to go in and erase it so that but here's the best part. Some of the new editing tools within YouTube says erase the song. That's it. It just removes the music.
Oh, that's
great. So any speaking stays. So anybody talking, us talking, anybody in the clip talking, that remains. It just erases the music. It's the new AI they have. Yeah. So can I do that on my own? Oh, hell no. Do you know how long it would take me to do that? I shouldn't say I can't do it, but it would be like you have to go in and fix with compression and equalization, and you need a 20,000 scale parametric equalizer. The AI can do it in a couple hours. It would take me a couple of weeks. So anyway, interesting tool. So I just thought I'd throw that in there. 13 seconds of some music in the background of a video that we played gave us a copyright.
Amazing.
Not a violation, but it's like ineligible for monetization. And I think you're right about that, Saucy. That's why Doug Ford is using music at his pressers.
Yes.
I think that's why. Yeah.
Yep. Prevents us from sharing stuff. Now, that's pretty much the main elements. There's two little tiny things I want to speak about. There was a moment at the Doug Ford actually deigned to address us.
Oh.
Yes, after like 10 days or so. And he came up and, had another press availability. I did not have a chance to watch it all because there were too many things. So I will make some time for it. Don't worry about that. But he did have a couple of things to say yesterday. And Richard Southern actually picked it up. And there's one moment, again, I will say this, Kits and Cubs, you know that I have certain biases, right? One is politicians that insult your intelligence, and two is politicians that get in the way of your right to cast a fully informed vote. Mr. Grizzly, I'm going to send you something, a list of things. The first one is Doug Ford. And this is Richard Southern, City TV, who shared this clip. And it's not long, but this is probably, I would assume, without having watched, was probably the most telling moment of the Q&A. There is a level of supreme arrogance that's going on here.
Let's have a watch. It's 1 minute and 34 seconds. Let's see.
Hi, Mr. Ford. Laura Stone, Globe and Mail.
Hi, Laura.
Hi. Not only is the Ontario government running ads on U.S. networks, you're actually sponsoring shows on Fox News, like Sean Hannity's interview with Elon Musk and Donald Trump. Can you explain to taxpayers why they're spending tens of millions to sponsor Hannity, Trump, and Musk?
Well, first of all, those ads are extremely effective. You know, they've hit over 500 million people. But what you did leave out were advertising on CNN. I'm on CNN, CNBC, I'm on Fox News. Because you know what we have to do? We have to tell the Canadian story. We have to tell the American friends, and they are our friends and they are our allies, that without Canada, there's going to be inflation. A Trump tariff on Canada is a tax on Americans. Simple. A Trump tariff on Canada is a tax on Americans. And we want to explain to them when they see plants shut down in the U.S., yes, is it going to hurt Canada? Sure it is. But they're going to see big time damage in the U.S. right across manufacturing. The supply chain is so intertwined. We need each other. We need to build that AMCAN fortress I've been talking about.
Can you reveal how much money the government is spending on these ads? All we've heard is tens of millions. That could be between 10 and 100 million. Do you not think taxpayers have the right to know?
Well, the taxpayers have the right.
Well, then tell us.
Oh, was that it?
Yeah, that's where it ends.
That's where it. Well, that's not good.
Yeah, it's 1:34.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Don't know where the. Okay, sorry. I apologize for that, because he goes on to the rest of it. He says that they're being effective, but he doesn't. Again, they've been seen to shown to 5 million. The number of people who see it doesn't mean the ad is effective. It's what they do after they see the ad.
Correct.
That determines whether the ad is effective. So he has no way of knowing that. He's lying, straight up lying. In this press conference, darn, I wish I guess I wasn't here that I saw it. But he was asked how much is being spent. He said he doesn't know. But later on continues and says, but that could be revealed through a Freedom of Information request.
What?
Yeah. So that part is not there in the answer. But yeah, how much did it cost? Basically, if you want to find out, file a Freedom of Information request. Doug Ford knows how much it costs, because when that news broke, I'm sure that all of his people on the staff looked up and said, oh my God, we spent X number of $1 million. And so, well, this is all the money we spent throughout the whole year, not just during this campaign. It's not just on Fox. It's like, I don't care, Doug Ford. You're trying to drown something in a bigger bathtub. The fact is that you took our money as Ontarian taxpayers, right? You're the one that sat there on the debate stage. All these other people keep on thinking that it's their money. It's the government's money. It's your money. That's why I tried to buy you off with those $200 checks that didn't clear, and some of them did bounced. Because it's your money.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Ontarians are entitled to know everything. If you really want to know, file a Freedom of Information request that will be responded to way after the frickin' election. How much do you want to know? Bet that number is very embarrassing. So this guy is taking your money that should be spent on you right now, and using it to sponsor, not just buy ads on CNN and whatnot, but to sponsor the actual shows on Fox that are being hosted by people while they are on Fox, are talking about annexing Canada like it's just a normal thing.
Yeah.
Like, hey kids, why don't we go for Dairy Queen for a family car ride on Sunday, pick up some Dairy Queen. While we're at it, we'll just annex Canada. Then we'll go out for dinner. I can't believe that you would object to that. I'm insulted that you would object. Doesn't everybody want to be America? Your sense of your own exceptionalism is a little overblown. And of course, Doug Ford wearing that Canada shirt, get that trash shirt off your body, get that shirt off your trash body.
Yeah.
That's why we need to do that AmCam thing. He's wearing a Canada shirt while he is preaching deeper economic integration and actually trying to justify funding the propagandists who are beating the drumbeat of our annexation. And then the fucking arrogant and entitled prick, and we're saying arrogant and entitled because he thinks he can campaign. This is an election campaign, and he doesn't have to answer questions for 10 days and can spend 6 or 7 days of it in the United States.
Well, he's on his way to Washington as we speak, actually.
Yes, and that he can actually stand in front of a podium while he is phoning it in at debates, showing up for one press availability in 10 days, having no candidates speak to us whatsoever, and just say, well, yes, Ontarians are entitled to know everything. And if you want to know, if you want to find out, why don't you rent a guide and a backpack for a 6-month trek through the woods with a FOIA request.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or you can stop pretending like you don't know, you lazy fuck. Pardon my language. Because we know that your whole staff researched it and that get off your lazy ASS.
That he likes to tell us
as you
about.
like to call it, Mr. Ford, on which you've been sitting for 30 of 36 weeks prior to an election. You decided that you weren't going to stay in to run all the way to the end.
Mm-hmm.
You can go look for it and then give it to us. Or you could go look for the answer and give it to us. But no, he sent us off on a wild goose chase. Arrogant and entitled. He's not even trying to do the folksy shucks thing.
No.
This is a man whose party feels they need to hide him because they don't trust him to freelance.
Because he's incapable of it.
They don't trust him. They think that he's going to go folksy and say something stupid and sink himself. And they're hiding him. There will be no published platform.
Oh, God, no.
From the party. How can they? He has not one single plan for the future that he's deemed us worthy of telling us about. And he's lying through his teeth that he will protect. He's still pushing that damn AMCAN thing, even here.
Yeah.
None of us are interested in deeper economic integration with the United States right now.
And he doesn't seem to understand that, or he just chooses to ignore it.
That's not his agenda. He is not on the team represented by that shirt he's wearing. He is a fraud.
Oh, yes.
And I wish somebody would have picked up, there's two things Canadians don't like in their politicians. It's arrogant and entitled.
Mm-hmm.
And had these moments come out earlier, we could have started hammering him on this. He would probably be in much bigger trouble today. But This is completely unacceptable from someone who wants to lead. Somebody that wants to have power over you and make decisions on your behalf. This is unacceptable. Well, yeah, you're entitled to know. If you want to find out, go hunt. Go to hell and hunt.
Yeah, go to hell and hunt for it.
I want to smack him so hard.
Yeah.
I want to smack the flavor out of his mouth.
Yeah.
Want to, as Mr. Grizzly says. Because that is just disrespectful. And if you actually paid attention to if you see in the clip, as soon as he's answered the question, his face turns really red. The blood pressure just goes all up. He goes from white to very pink. He did not like that question. Basically, he told them to fuck off. Yeah, you're entitled. File a Freedom of Information request.
Like, really? Why don't you just answer the question, Doug?
I'm just... Fuck. This guy. Oh.
It's the mendacity, the audacity, the sheer pig-headedness, the
prickishness.
Yeah, it's all of it. All of it is bad. We should wrap up, sir. I got a doggy that's doing the dance over here. So
exactly. One last little thing, because we like to end with good news. There is a very historical thing that happened. Mr. Grizzly, I believe the second thing and that last thing I sent you had something to do with Haida Nation.
Yes, I'm just trying to find it here. Where the hell did I put it? Oh, there it is. I've got it.
A very short clip. It's only 53 seconds, I think. But I believe it comes from APTN. There was something very historic that has just happened and big.
Mm-hmm. Let me just cue this up. I'll put that over here. There we go. That's better. We can see it clearer.
Haida Nation belongs to you, the Haida.
Gagwis Jason Alsop, the president of the Council of the Haida Nation, said the historic agreement represents a move from an era of denial, occupation, and resistance to one of peaceful coexistence and recognition of the Haida land. What is now called the Big Tide Haida Title Lands Agreement will affirm that the Haida have title over Crown land in the area. Trudeau called the agreement a monumental step, and that he stayed true to the principles of truth and reconciliation to restore Canada's relationship with Indigenous people. The transition is expected to take up to 5 years and will require legislation to help address some of the details. Private property owners in the area will not.
Well,
Actual land back.
yeah, that's wow.
From the Prime Minister's office. Today, the President of the Haida Nation, Gagwis Jason Alsop, the Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, and Minister of Crown Indigenous Relations and Northern Affairs, and Minister responsible for the Canadian Northern Economic Development Agency, Gary Anadam Sangari, announced the signing of the Chuchijin Chakagwa Big Tide Low Water Haida Title Lands. And I apologize if I mispronounced that agreement. The agreement includes Canada's recognition of Haida Aboriginal title to lands on Haida Gwaii and marks a significant milestone in the journey to reconciliation. Canada's recognition of Haida Aboriginal title on the Haida Gwaii includes the foreshore and extends to the low water mark. The agreement does not affect private property interests or local and municipal governments on Haida Gwaii, and it confirms the continued delivery of federal public services. The Haida Canada Archipelago Management Board will also continue to cooperatively manage Gwaii Hanas through a transition period during which both governments will work to reconcile jurisdictions and laws. The Haida Nation collectively holds inherent Haida title and rights as described in the Constitution of the Haida Nation. At a special House of Assembly on November 24th, 2024, Haida citizens voted 97% in favor of the Big Tide Low Water Agreement.
Wow.
As a result, the agreement was signed by the Haida Nation and Canada on December 4th, 2024. Over an estimated 5-year transition period, the Haida Nation and Canada will continue to work respectively and cooperatively on matters relating to Haida Gwaii. Both governments have agreed that this transition will be implemented in an orderly and incremental way, providing ongoing stability for all island residents and other interest holders on Haida Gwaii. So even though the agreement was signed on the 24th, this was the official signing ceremony that recently took place, and that's what the images were from. The agreement builds on previous reconciliation accomplishments, including the Nangkulak-Nangkulas recognition agreement signed by the Haida Nation, Canada, and British Columbia in 2023, as well as the, oh boy, I cannot pronounce that at all. This one I can't pronounce at all. But the Rising Tide Haida Title Lands Agreement, another one signed between the Haida Nation and the province of British Columbia in 2024. This Big Tide Low Water Haida Title Lands Agreement is a concrete demonstration of Canada's commitment to implementing and advancing the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples. Canada's recognition of Haida Aboriginal title results from people working together to make it right. I'm guessing this is another document that they had done or worked at before, and in this way upholds the duty and honor of the Crown based on a principled and respectful nation-to-nation relationship. So I'm guessing that this is the document that set out the terms for being able to work together in a principled and nation-to-nation respectful manner. Some quotes from Gagwis Jason Alsop, the president of the Haida Nation. The recognition of Haida title to Haida Gwaii by Canada acknowledges historic injustices and illustrates the transformative possibilities of working together for what is right. It takes leadership to recognize a wrong, begin the process of healing from a troubled history, and trust in the ability to forge a new relationship based on respect. This recognition of title by Canada, which was initiated in 1913 by our past leaders, means that we can begin a new era of peaceful coexistence, knowing that we can look after Haida Gwaii and ensure the well-being of all who call these shining lands home. 112 years.
Wow.
This took. The Prime Minister, I congratulate the Haida Nation for their leadership on this landmark agreement as we mark a new chapter in the history of our nation-to-nation relationship. Let us all recommit to walking the path of reconciliation, because by working together, we're showing that meaningful progress is possible. And the Prime Minister also made a point of saying that his first event when he became Prime Minister, the first thing he did was to go to Haida Gwaii. And it was perfectly fitting that it would be his last one as well.
Mm-hmm.
So beautiful bookends. This is important. I hope that if Parliament does reconvene, there is that one bill that is waiting to pass. That is the first bill that was negotiated on a co-equal basis between the Government of Canada and members of the Indigenous community.
Right.
And if the NDP do not do anything to make sure that that passes,
yeah, they're finished forever. Yeah.
That bill dies on the order paper.
Yeah.
Because a lot of work went into that.
Yeah. Oh, no. No kidding. Yeah.
Mr. Grizzly, do we have a show?
We do indeed.
All right, get some up. And maybe we'll have more on that. There's a couple of, there's a great conversation that includes Megan St. Clair with this that was hosted by APTN. And I'm going to watch that today to find out more about that. And maybe I'll have more to bring you on this because this is a very, very big deal.
As Joe Biden would say, this is a big fucking deal.
Mm-hmm. That's the end of this episode of the Daily Beaver Morning Show. Canada, Canada, Canada. We hope that you love listening to us because we like to partay. P-A-R-T-E-H. Partay. Yes. And we loved bringing this for you today with all the appropriate smugness and passive aggressiveness because it's a 100% Canadian show. And we are buying Canadian. Now, we thank you so much for tuning in, and we hope that you tell your peeps and poops all about us because it helps us when you do. Now, if you would like to make sure you don't miss an episode, especially those that come in podcast format, you don't have to. Thanks to the Ray Girl who has sponsored our pod page. Thank you so much for the support. If you scan that QR code that just appeared, or if you go to podpage.com/the-true-north-eager-beaver with a hyphen between each one of those words, you click on subscribe. And when we have something fresh off the bandwidth, we just slide right into your box. And it's right there
in the
waiting
event
for you.
that we get technology to work for us.
Yes. Tech willing. It's always tech willing. Okay. Now, if you would like to support us, for example, if you're in a celebratory mood like we are and would like to, let us know how you feel. We'd love to hear from you. So why don't you write to us? truenortheagerbeaver @gmail.com is our email address. Or you can write us at our Blue Sky Beaver Lodge at True Eager, our Twitter feed, The Bad Place, also at True Eager, Facebook, True North Eager Beaver, or right down here in the comments section. And while you're here in the comments section, if you're supporting us, why not click on our buttons? Like, share, and subscribe. I mean, Kit Elaine, Kit Cassie are waiting for you. They're just waving you in. Give them a little tickle. It helps us with the algorithm. Thank you so much. And if you would like to help us in other ways, because, hey, what's a party without a little beer?
Yeah.
Are you parched, Mr. Grizzly?
I do have some
a little
water.
parched.
I have some water and it's helping.
I'm a little parched and I have a lot more cheering to do today. So if kids and cubs, you would like to help your Monsieur Beaver be full-throated and moist for the cheering that is to come today and the gloating. I have a very busy day. Gloating,
so.
being smug, celebrating.
No smarminess, though. We're never smarmy.
Never smarming. Never smarming. I have to fit in lunch somewhere in there.
Lunch.
Very busy day. Very busy day. So if you would like to help me get through my day, a little contribution to the emergency hydration fund at the Beaver Lodge would be very helpful. You can find our tip jar at our coffee page, ko-fi.com/eagerbeaver, all in one word, lowercase letters. And if you make a little contribution there, we appreciate it. And
there's a multitude of ways to contribute to the show. You can donate it on the coffee page. You can do super chats.
Yes.
And if you want us to get 100%, you can just email it to us.
Right.
If you're in Canada, you know how that works. You just Interac e-transfer and it goes directly into the account. We don't even see the money. It just goes literally straight into the account. There's nothing else. It's all set up for auto deposit. So If you want to send us money that way, that's wonderful. You can send it
Yep.
via coffee. You can email it to us, truenortheagerbeaver@gmail.com, or send us money in the super chat. And this is, this is Friday, isn't it?
It is Friday.
Oh, I forgot to do our Friday fundraiser. We're supposed to do that every few weeks.
Ah, we were
Friday
too busy
fundraiser.
celebrating.
Well, and yeah, I guess we're too busy celebrating. Friday fundraiser didn't happen this week. Maybe we'll make it happen next week. And of course, the point of the Friday fundraiser is if we hit our goal, we have a dance party on the Saturday night because I can't do it on the Friday night. I got other things going on. But we could have a dance party on the Saturday night. So online dance party, which would have to be
money.
It would have to be streamed. And I guarantee you we get a multitude of copyright violations. It would be live streamed, and then when the stream ends, I have to take it off immediately.
That's okay. Hey, maybe before the stream ends, I'll take it off. Woo! No, I won't. I won't. If you're watching for that, it ain't gonna happen. Just let you know, I'm a little modest. But hey, a contribution to the Emergency Hydration Fund would be very helpful because it does help us underwrite the costs of bringing the show to you. Hopefully a show that you love and enjoy and brings you a couple of smiles and some good laughs. And hey, a show with which you can party when we do something really well too. Okay. But if you're not able to contribute, please don't worry, because the gift of your participation and your attention matters the most to us. And like I said, we give you all the information to write to us because we want to hear from you. So please use it. Now, because democracy is something that you do, liberal leadership race, right? If you're ready to vote, make sure that you got all your things in. I don't know if they've sent anything in to ask people to start verifying their stuff because I haven't received anything yet to tell me to send like an ID. I might need to look into that. I don't know if that process is a little slow or whatnot, but that will probably be coming soon if it hasn't happened already. So make sure that you do that so that you are fully able to vote when the time comes. Quebec Liberal Leadership Race, same thing. Make sure that you're registered in time. Party politics is where it's at, so make sure that you have the best candidate possible for the general. Ontario election, early voting is open now, so please get your vote in. A lot of people are wondering because of the snowstorms that we recently had, if there might be one on the 27th. You might not want to wait on that day, so you might want to go and get your vote in early. So ask for your Doug Ford removal kit today. As Mr. Grizzly calls it. And of course, there's a by-election coming up as well, just announced in Manitoba. So please, if you're there, find out about that. Mr. Grizzly, do you have some words of wisdom?
Yes, I actually do. When you are celebrating this weekend and still on the natural high we all have experienced from Canada's glorious victory in the Four Nations Cup after the President of the United States of America, Donald J. Trump, has insisted that we become the 51st state, including his press secretary, who said that yesterday during a presser. If you are on that natural high, hold on to it all weekend long. Keep it in your heart and your soul, and remember, in David and Goliath, we're David, and David wins.
I'm going to be microdosing on this victory for a long time. I'm just saying, man. It's going to feed me for a while. All right. You're all beautiful people, kids and cubs. Remember to be kind to and gentle with yourself because somebody has to.
Somebody else.
Might as well be you. Have a beaverific weekend. We'll see you soon. Bye.
You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Misfit Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters, CanadianTarot.com, their uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community, and the Peppermaster, hot pepper sauces made from farm-fresh ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind. We are grateful to the Crier Media Network for its support, Pete Jarvis for our artwork, and Paul Joseph Something for our opening and closing sequence music.
I have a multitude of Easter eggs here, and I'm going to try and sneak as many of them in as quickly as possible because there's just so bloody many of them. But let's start with, I'm just going to put some stuff on the screen. Let's start with something that's disturbing. I'm going to start with something disturbing.
Okay.
Let me just switch it up here to this so we can see it. Doge. Department of Government Efficiency cancels a CDC contract to support research by the New York City Fire Department into diseases afflicting firefighters who responded on 9/11.
Okay.
How do you like that Department of Government Efficiency, folks? Let's move to something a little bit more lighthearted from Theo Moudakis. It's a picture of Olivia Chow in the first corner of the... I'm just sorry, I got to remove something here so you can see it better. In the first corner, the first panel, it says if it's the only way to get rid of all this snow. The second panel is bring in the army, much like Mel Lastman did the last time Toronto had massive snow. And in the final panel, you have Olivia Chow looking at the television, Donald Trump saying, "We're invading Canada at the request of one of its leaders." And Olivia yelling out, "That's not what I meant."
Theo.
And then, of course,
I would expect that from Donald.
And this one from you, which I thought was really funny.
Yes.
"I just got pulled." DK Gray replies, "Lucky guy." You're like rolling on the floor laughing my ass off. I kind of walked into that one. Which again has another meaning.
And I'm glad you brought that up because Linda was just chatting. Linda was talking on the chat about she had been polled yesterday too. So I was going to mention that she got polled by Angus Reid. I got polled by Nanas. So there's a lot of polling going on.
A lot of polling going on. People are getting polled left, right, and center.
All right, everyone. Have a most beaverific, everyone. And as Mademoiselle Fox is doing feminism fun and fantastic. Yeah, so there's a Mademoiselle Fox. Okay, so 8 p.m.?
8 p.m., yes.
Okay, so do tune into that, Kits and Cubs. All right, bye, everyone.
See ya.
Part